just want to be given the chance.
You were the pioneers that built women's football.
The opportunity to succeed. Or even to fail.
You are the league of their own.
Figure out what the you need to do mentally to be able to sacrifice everything for the girl next to you.
You better knock the shit out of it.
Put the hurt on them first. Keep them on the ground. Stick your foot on their throat.
We are in the heartland of America, Omaha, Nebraska, for LFL Football Night. Hello, LFL fans. Mitch Mortaza joining you alongside former SEC NFL quarterback Bobby Huco. And Bobby, here we are in the Eastern Conference again. You've got the Chicago Bliss visiting the Omaha Heart. Two teams headed in separate directions.
Absolutely. Omaha, they started this season out a mess. They're 0-3. Their defense has led up an unbelievable 190 points, an LFL record. And their offense has yet to score a touchdown. But we have good news. The front office went out and made 4 major moves. They brought back veteran center Sarah Robinson. That should solve all the center quarterback exchange problems. Then they signed 3 impact, solid veterans to come in and help them out. League play pay. Off the edge, one of the best defensive ends there was in the LFL. Then wide receiver, the former Baltimore Charm star, Heather Hudson, a Wes Walker type receiver across the middle. And then the most impact player out there, free agent quarterback, Anaka Dixon. She can play, she can throw, she can run, she can do everything. They should be fun to watch tonight.
A lot of pickups in the offseason, or actually in season now for the Omaha Heart. We'll see how that translates to the field tonight for certainty. On the Chicago side of the ball, it's Coach Keith Hack. He came back, he took the reins offensively, said, I will be the offensive coordinator of this ship. What that has done is really gone to a blue-collar running attack with Christelle Ferrari-Harris. The challenge with that is they haven't developed a passing game, namely Heather Rockstar Furr, the quarterback, the longtime quarterback. Some say not really a quarterback, more of a wildcat operator of this offense. And then they've had key pieces like Allie Alberts, who's an all-star type wide receiver, but through 4 games of this season, she's only managed 4 receptions, and that is not a very well-balanced offensive attack, especially as you get into the playoffs in the Legends Cup. You've got to have a running game as well as a passing game. So Coach Keith Hack, offensive coordinator Keith Hack, has said and vowed that he will develop this offensive passing attack. We'll see if that holds tonight. And that will do it for pregame festivities here at the Farm, the Ralston Arena. As the teams take to the field, we get you ready. Kickoff is next. Back to the Ralston Arena, better known as the Farm. Here in Omaha, Nebraska, Mitch Mortaza alongside Bobby Huco. And an Eastern Conference battle between the Omaha Heart and the Chicago Bliss. Jackie Hake ready to get us underway. Ball at the 10-yard line. And here is your opening kickoff. Nice high kick. Fielded by Javille Thompson, nearly turns it over. An opportune bounce for Chicago as they'll take over on offense.
Great kick by Haig, kind of a pooch kick over the front line. The receiver has to storm up on the ball. It gave the gunners from the outside time to get on top of it. No return yardage for Chicago.
And speaking of Chicago, we now meet their offensive starters.
Jamie Barwick, center. Nekawani, tight end.
Dina Fagiano, tight end. Shabria Civilian, wide receiver.
Allie Alberts, wide receiver.
Ferrari Harris, the running back.
Heather Furr, quarterback.
The key tonight is rock star Heather Furr, the quarterback. In our meeting before the game, she promised to show us that she can throw the football tonight.
It'll be a 1st and 10 from the 13, looking down the field, down the seam. And early on, that is Heather Furr connecting with Allie Alberts, the all-fantasy wide receiver.
Wow, first play of the game, play action pass, all-fantasy wide receiver Alberts splits the safeties. Huge play for Chicago to start this game.
That was a 21-yard pass and catch play between Furr and Alberts. An absolute commitment we talked about in the pregame show to develop the passing game. And here we go again. Furr looking down the seam to Civilian. The outstanding wide receiver they are trying to develop. only in her rookie season, and now we meet the starters for Omaha.
Lee Pei, defensive end. Chantrielle Tillman, defensive end.
Sarah Robinson, defensive end.
Jessica Ripp, linebacker. Jenna Holt, cornerback.
Heather Hudson, your corner.
Amanda Hogan, cornerback.
The key tonight is the new acquisitions on the defensive line, Leak Play Pay and Sarah Robinson. They have to get pressure on quarterback Heather Furr.
And if you're at home counting, that is 3 plays from scrimmage for this offense and 3 pass plays. That's Christelle Harris that was designated on the screen pass. You can see she's having an incredible year once again from the running back position.
She has over 7 yards per carry, arguably the best running back ever to play in the LFL. And tonight, Coach Keith Hack guaranteed all passing.
And there we go again, a quick screen. Heather Furr intended for Civilian, and that was just an ugly pass from Furr.
Well, that's the problem you get with Heather Furr throwing the football. Her mechanics right there, her hips, her feet were not into that, and it was short on an easy pass.
And a great opportunity for offensive coordinator Keith Hack to develop this passing game over the next 2 regular season games. For all intents and purposes, Chicago will have clinched a playoff berth with a win tonight, so that really gives them an opportunity to open up this offense. And that is a keeper by Heather Furr. She will not get the first down. That was a 4th down as Omaha will take over.
It looked like their speed option play, but it wasn't run correctly. You have to attack a defensive end. She kind of stutter step, went backwards, and obviously did not get enough yardage for the first down.
And we will get our first look at Ananka Dixon, Bobby Huco, your former starting quarterback with the Miami Caliente.
This girl was one of the most exciting quarterbacks ever to step foot on the LFL fields. Let's see if she has it tonight.
Now Dixon lining up in the shotgun. Ball at the Omaha 12-yard line, looking down the field early. Intended for Jenna Holt, and just overshot her target.
That's what you get with Ananka Dixon. She can throw the ball 45 to 55 yards on the button.
Now let's meet the starters for Omaha.
Sarah Robinson, your center.
Shalane Durham, tight end.
S.J. Thompson, running back.
Heather Hudson, wide receiver.
Lee Pei, wide receiver.
Jenna Holt, wide receiver.
Ananka Dixon, gunslinger.
The key tonight is Ananka Dixon. She's been out of the league for a few years. Does she have enough to spark this Omaha team?
A 2nd and 10 play, handoff to Sarah Thompson. Thompson, one of the veteran running backs that they brought back, and they really like her athleticism out of the backfield.
You can see it already. This is a totally different Omaha team. They didn't score 1 touchdown so far this year. Already they've got a lot more excitement going. This team is fired up. Should be a good football game tonight.
That Thompson run will now set up a 3rd and 6. Perhaps another opportunity to see Dixon's arm. Ball at the Omaha 16-yard line. And that's Heather Hudson, another free agent pickup. End around reverse, loses her footing. No gain. She's one of the weapons they brought over from Baltimore.
Heather Hudson gives you that speed from the outside. She had too much speed right there, lost her footing, turned in the corner. No gain there for Omaha.
Now let's meet the 3rd-ranked defense, the Chicago Bliss.
Chantel Taylor, DN.
Nekawani, middle linebacker.
Incredible Yashi, defensive end.
Dominique Collins, your corner.
Allie Alberts, safety.
Kim Perez, corner.
Heather Furr, safety.
Just like Omaha, Chicago's key on defense is Taylor Rice up front, and if they can get pressure on Ananka Dixon.
And a 4th and 6 play. Dixon clearly had a route to the first down stick and extended the play for some unreason, going lateral.
This is the problem with Ananka Dixon. It's not a problem. She just thinks she can score every play. You're right, Mitch. If she would have taken it straight down the field, north and south, that's an easy first down for Omaha. Now Chicago gets the football back.
A big turnover after that Omaha defense was able to stop the Chicago high-powered offense. And that could just be rust after being out of the game for 4 years for Ananka Dixon.
I'm not sure it's rust. It's trying to do too much too quick.
And another quick screen to Civilian. Great defensive swarm there. Shaylin Durham, the middle linebacker, one of the bright spots of this Omaha team.
I'll tell you what, Coach Hack was not lying to me. He's throwing the ball every down now. Quick screen, little tunnel screen. It's really set up there. Good defensive play to stop that from being a big gainer.
Now a 2nd and 7 play for this offense. And you could see they are absolutely committed to trying to create a passing game here in Chicago. Heading into the playoffs and Legends Cup, they will definitely be tested. Absolutely vital to create a balanced offensive attack. And this is Heather Furr looking down the field again. Intended for Allie Alberts, going incomplete. That will set up a 3rd and 7.
Great pressure by Pay and Robinson. It forced Heather Furr out of the pocket, and she clearly way overthrew the ball to Allie Alberts.
A 3rd and 7. Allie Alberts, we talked about, only with 4 receptions coming into this game. Widely regarded as one of the better receivers, just has not had the opportunity to develop, with the focus being Christelle Harris in that running attack. A 3rd and 7 now, Omaha 18-yard line. Fake handoff, again looking for the pass over the middle and connecting with Allie Alberts. Alberts having a strong first quarter.
Even though that was completed, this is a different Omaha team. Watch the pressure on Heather Furr. She stays in the pocket, delivers a strike to Alberts. You got to hand it to Heather Furr on that play.
That 12-yard reception now setting up a 1st and goal. Chicago team absolutely committed to the passing game here early.
Allie Alberts is a mismatch nightmare. Great speed, great height and weight, the ideal receiver.
A 1st and goal handoff, Christelle Harris. And I believe that's her first carry of the night. And just like that, Chicago up 6-0.
You know what, with this crowd here, they have a home field advantage, but I'll tell you what, talent overrules the home field advantage anytime. Christelle Harris walks in the end zone.
And Harris not getting a lot of looks on that first series, showing you why she's the preeminent back in this league. And also a deadly weapon as a pass receiving back out of the backfield for Furr.
Chicago's the defending champs. They're known for their running game. Can you imagine if Heather Furr and Allie Alberts get on the same page? They might be unstoppable.
And that is a 1-point attempt to Harris. And an open field tackle missed in the backfield as Chicago converts, and now will go up 7-0, quieting this crowd.
Watch this jump cut on Amanda Hogan. Christelle the Ferrari Harris does it all on her own, gets by 3 Omaha players and gets the extra point.
Timeout.
And that'll bring us to a timeout with Christelle Harris capping a 4-play, 21-yard drive. Love all the hard-hitting action of LFL on Fuse? Catch it live and in person at a stadium or arena near you. Friday, July 3rd, the LFL returns to Seattle. July 10th, it's in Atlanta. And July 23rd, back in Ontario, California. Find out why it's every fan's ultimate live experience. Back to LFL football night here at the Farm. Omaha, Nebraska, and Ananka Dixon. Not a very impressive start on the first series. Will get another opportunity to lead this offense.
That decision she made was huge. That's her first series. She got a first down, got the drive going. Instead, Chicago got the ball and took it in for 6.
And now Dixon back to pass under heavy pressure. That ball is loose, and that is a fumble in the end zone. Yashi Rice recovering for Chicago's score.
That Rice touchdown was set up by the bull rush of Chantel Taylor. Unbelievable. She puts Jackie Haig right into a knock at Dixon, knocks the ball out. Rice recovers for a touchdown. What a play by Chantel Taylor.
I'm not sure that's what happened. It looked like Dixon just lost control of the ball on the replay. What would alarm me more if I was an Omaha fan is there was a lack of effort on Dixon's part to make any effort to recovering that fumble.
I wonder if she thought that she threw the football with a forward pass, because you're right, she did not go after the football. Any football player, if that's a fumble, you dive on the football and you tee it up for the next play.
Initially, it looked like it was the Chantel Taylor-Rice rush, but no, that was Dixon losing the ball. And that is a bull rush up the middle for the extra point attempt for Heather Furr. That will extend Chicago's lead to 14-0, and we're still in the first quarter.
It reminded me a little bit of the tuck rule with Tom Brady, because she was ready to throw it. She had a cock, she pulled it down and lost control of it, didn't go after it, so she might have thought it was a forward pass, and Chicago ends up with another score.
That would be the only thing that would explain her lack of effort to try to get on that ball. Now a 1st and 10 for this Omaha offense. Ball at the 15-yard line. Allie Alberts at free safety for Chicago, going to be big in this one. That's a pitch out play to Sarah Thompson.
Get off them blocks, ladies. Get off them blocks.
That is a consistent 7-yard carry for Thompson.
This is going to be hard to say. They're down 14-0, but Omaha looks like a better team than we've seen. They really look like they've got together. That was a solid rush right there. A couple bad plays by the quarterback, but they're looking better.
Allie Alberts calling that defense. And now Ananka Dixon going back to work. 2nd and 3. A very manageable down for Dixon. Looking down the field, not shy with the deep ball. And that is intercepted. The center fielder, Allie Alberts, absolutely reading the eyes of Ananka Dixon.
Great play by Alberts, but lack of play by Jenna Holt. This ball, she shouldn't have thrown it into double coverage like that, but the receiver has to go up after the ball. Watch Jenna Holt on this. It's a post pattern trying to score big quick. Holt does not go after the football. It's the worst, the receiver. You have to knock it down so they don't intercept. Holt didn't even go after the ball.
Those are the little things that separate a respectable team from the Omaha Heart. And now a 1st and 10 play for this Chicago offense. They're already up 14-0. Fake handoff to Harris. That's in the flat to Civilian, cutting across the middle. And Civilian looking impressive with a 6-yard gain.
Impressive 6-yard gain, but if she kept this outside, she might have scored. She had great downfield blocking by the wide receivers, but for some reason, she cut it back inside.
And that'll officially bring us to the end of the first quarter. A quarter where we saw a new look Chicago offense and a lackluster effort by Omaha.
LFL Mobile, giving you access to the gridiron goddesses of the LFL with exclusive photos, videos, live game reporting, and fan promotions. LFL Mobile. Download on your Android or iPhone.
Back to second quarter action here at the Farm in Omaha, Nebraska, and the away team. The 2-time champion Chicago Bliss up 14-0 and feeling good.
Allie Alberts has to like this throwing offense tonight. She's finally getting a chance to show what she can do at wide receiver. All year long, it's been the Ferrari, Chrisdell Harris. Finally, you get to see Allie Alberts.
And now Heather Furr going back to work. Ball at the 17. That is a fake toss in the flat. Now a backwards lateral. And they're calling that a forward pass attempt to Chrisdell Harris. But from our vantage, it looked like that was a lateral, and that should be a fumble.
No, that was absolutely a fumble. A lateral, absolutely not good execution by Furr, not a good pass. That's a fumble. Omaha, again, not knowing the rules. That looks like the old Omaha. They should have a turnover right now. They let Chicago get it.
That looked like Dina Fagiano recovered. And if you're a Chicago fan, I like the fact that they're opening up the passing game. But what alarms me is that Heather Furr looks so ugly trying to complete a screen pass.
Well, that was bad execution. Yeah, her footwork was terrible. When it showed, it was way behind. It was a fumble.
A 3rd and 5 from the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, looking down the field. In the seam, intended for Allie Alberts. Just overthrown.
Actually, Alberts was open. I hate to come down on Heather Furr, but if she would have let her, she might be walking right in the end zone. Watch this. Again, watch Alberts right there. She overthrows it. If she leaves it outside, maybe a touchdown for Chicago.
Now a 4th and 5 play, and this Omaha defense looking a lot more impressive than they did in their first 3 games. And Heather Hudson, that is the all-star corner that they signed from the Baltimore Charm.
Little things, you mentioned it, Mitch. If Jenna Holt acts like a DB, knocks that ball down, no interception, and right there if they recover that fumble, this is a different ball game.
Now we've got a penalty on the field in an otherwise very clean game.
Offense, number 15. 5 yards, 4th down.
That's our head referee, Vince Hayes, and that is a delay of game. That will back him up to the 11-yard line and set up a 4th and 10.
Look at Stephanie Bear right now. They got a little swag, this Omaha team. We never saw this in the opening 3 games.
They feel a sense of confidence they have never had in the locker room with the free agent signings. And that is an inside handoff, a play that Chicago is known for. And that's Dina Fagiano gaining 16 yards on the carry.
This is their favorite play, the Y inside. You make like you're coming outside, you hand it off underneath to Fagiano. That play killed Atlanta, and it's killing Omaha tonight.
That advances the ball to the Omaha 23-yard line. That was a golden opportunity for this Omaha defense to pin Chicago deep. And that's another lost opportunity.
Dina Fagiano, and I hate to say it because I say it every time Chicago plays, but once or twice a game, she breaks a big gainer.
Now a 1st and 10 play for Heather Furr in the flat. Intended for Christelle Harrison, just overshot her. Again, that would worry me if I were a Bliss fan.
Again, it's all mechanics. Wide open in the flat, Chrisdell Ferrari Harris. Heather Furr threw it kind of off her back foot, didn't step into it, hence the high throw over her head.
A 2nd and 10 now at the Omaha 23. But obviously that is part of the process, Bobby, that they are going to give her more reps to get her ready for the postseason.
You're absolutely right. To be successful in the postseason, you have to be able to throw the football.
2nd and 10, that is an absolute lateral pass play to Christelle Harrison. That defense swarming. A loss of 6, Jackie Hake and Chantrell Tillman. This defense looking a lot more impressive than the last time we saw him here versus Atlanta.
Again, it's the lack of mechanics by Heather Furr. To throw that pass, you have to sell it down the field. Sell it down the field. She went right out in the flat, and Hake was right there, and the rest of the Omaha defense. You have to make like you're throwing the ball down the middle of the field, then come back to your back.
Now a 3rd and 16, yet another opportunity for this Omaha defense to get a stop as the crowd comes to life from the shotgun. Heather Furr looking for someone under heavy pressure, and making a play out of nothing is Heather Furr, gaining 6.
Call the fucking fish, man!
That is all Heather Furr. There was nothing there. League play pay had her in the backfield, but some of these veterans might not be in the kind of shape they need to be in. This is their first game. That should have been a big loss, but Heather Furr, just like Tim Tebow, she somehow escapes it. She should have been hit by a loss and gets down by the 1st down marker.
And you could see Heather Furr complaining about a possible face mask. We do have that in the LFL game.
Chicago, the first charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
And we've got a timeout on the field. Chicago leading 14-0.
John Joy, protecting LFL athletes and the game.
Back to Omaha, Nebraska. Another big crowd here at the Farm. Despite the College World Series being played only about a mile away from here, it is a big party weekend in Nebraska.
Absolutely. Don't be surprised if my Florida Gators win that World Series.
It is absolutely the Super Bowl of Omaha. The College World Series, and now we've got a 4th and 10 play, a critical play here. Dump off in the flat to Christelle Harris. And Harris pushed out of bounds about 2 yards short. This defense coming up big for Omaha.
Heavy pressure on Heather Furr. Somehow she gets it out of there to Ferrari. Heather Hudson makes the play of the game so far for Omaha. They get the ball on downs.
This defense is coming up big against the number 2 ranked offense. And now we will see if Ananka Dixon in Omaha can do any damage here before the half.
Ananka Dixon looks a little bit confused right now. Yes, she is calling a timeout. It's rare to do that right after a change of possession, but she wants to make sure she's got this play right.
Timeout.
Like we talked about in the pregame show, Bobby, she's only had this playbook for about 2 weeks. And obviously that is a tough position of quarterback to master an offense in 2 weeks.
She is so used to being a successful quarterback. She has to take a step back, not try to do too much, make the basic plays and move this team down the field.
And now the Omaha team going back to work from their 15-yard line, having 1 timeout and under 5 minutes remaining. So plenty of time to mount a drive here. Ball at the 15 as Ananka Dixon looks over the offense. Now Heather Hudson in motion. Toss left. Sarah Thompson. And Thompson getting over the middle. That will be a gain of 5 yards. A very respectable 5-yard gain against this tough defense.
This is a totally different Omaha team. Hudson came in motion, cracked back on Chantel Taylor effectively. This team is going to be good. They just got to gel together.
A 2nd and 5 now. This Omaha offense, you could see they're trying to gradually bring in Ananka Dixon in the passing game. But now they have a formidable back in Sarah Thompson. And that's going to be another fake handoff, and that was a designed rollout. Busted play. And you could see they're trying to give Ananka Dixon some opportunities in the open field.
I think that was a busted play. I think here we go. She doesn't know the playbook. She turned the wrong way. The back was on the other side. She tried to make something happen. But again, she'll get that. She'll get this system down. They'll get on the same page.
That Dixon run sets up a 3rd and 1. Ball at the Omaha 24-yard line as the clock continues to run. We are nearing the 3-minute mark of the first half. That's an inside handoff, Shaylin Durham. And that is the fullback out of Council Bluffs, Iowa. One of your favorite towns, Bobby.
She is one of the best players, finest players ever to come out of Council Bluffs.
And unfortunately, Shaylin Durham is down. And we will take an injury timeout here. And a tough start for the free agent quarterback, Ananka Dixon.
Champion Gloves, the custom and official on-field glove of LFL athletes.
We are back to the farm here in Omaha, Nebraska for LFL football night. And the Chicago Bliss leading this one 14-0. Although a very different looking Omaha Heart team with Ananka Dixon under center. That is a reverse handoff to Heather Hudson. And Hudson being caught in the backfield by Chantel Taylor.
Even though Hudson has great speed, this is not a great call here by Omaha. You can't get outside these 2 defensive ends. They're 2 of the finest the LFL has ever seen. Chantel Taylor and Yashi Rice, you cannot run outside them like that.
Maddie, you're going. You're going.
And you could see Chicago with nothing to lose. Allie Alberts instructing that front line to go. Obviously trying to bring the pressure against Ananka Dixon.
If you take away her blunder where she fumbled the ball in the end zone for a touchdown, they'd be going in for the tying score right now.
And there is Dixon, just a brief glimpse of what she is capable in the open field, although that was Yashi Rice, the other DN. You talked about that tandem with Rice and Chantel Taylor. It simply does not get better.
It does not. This entire Chicago defense, Allie Alberts back there, Heather Furr, the corners, Perez, Dominique Collins, they're just rock solid.
Chicago, your 2nd final timeout of the half.
And Chicago calling a timeout, hoping to get the ball back.
For your 4, she's not there. Look at the lineup. If that DB's in here, your swing route's gonna swing, but don't lob it.
And you could see a little bit of coaching up there from offensive coordinator and head coach Dante Allen. Hopefully that relationship matures over the final 3 games of the regular season for Omaha. Ball at the 18-yard line for Dixon and company. And Dixon back to pass. That is a lob play to Heather Hudson. And Hudson will pick up the first down, and that ball is loose. Dominique Collins on the recovery. And this will be an interesting call.
Ruling on the field, players' progress was stopped prior to the ball coming out.
And that is a big call. They're saying her forward momentum had stopped.
It is a good call. She had enough for the first down. After she got forced back, the ball popped out. Good call by the officials.
And that'll set up a 1st and goal for this Omaha offense as we are officially at the 2-minute warning with Chicago up 14-0, but a very impressive and new look Omaha Heart.
Follow your favorite LFL players and teams and receive breaking news stories. Like the LFL's official Twitter page, twitter.com/mylfl.
We are back to LFL football night. Bobby Huco, Mitch Mortaza. And a game that has Chicago up 14-0, but a far more competitive Omaha Heart team.
Anaka Dixon, she made some blunders tonight, but she totally has this offense playing much better. You take away her fumble and that play where she didn't get the first down, and this is a tie ball game.
A 1st and goal ball at the Chicago 10, and that is a design rollout, and Anaka Dixon showing her wheels and tiptoeing her way down the sideline. That'll be a loss of a yard after all that running. A lot of people compare her to Michael Vick. Very elusive.
She should not be fucking getting these yards!
Allie Albert's not happy with the front line.
Now we're 3 yards, now we're 3. What was it? What was it?
And you could see a little bit of confusion as that Chicago defense is funneling in new players. Obviously tuning up for the playoffs. And now Dixon going back to work, dropping back, looking down the middle, evading the rush, and now Heather Furr. That is your free safety, sacking Anaka Dixon for a loss.
Dixon had time. Robinson, Thompson, and Tillman provided protection. You can tell she's a little tired. This is her first game in 4 years. Usually with her speed, she outruns Heather Furr right there. A little bit tired, first game back, should have thrown the football away.
A 3rd and goal now, ball at the Chicago 12-yard line. Still plenty of time here in the first half with 1:26. And Omaha still retaining their 1 timeout. Ball at the Chicago 12-yard line, so plenty of opportunities to work the end zone. Dixon under center now, a design keeper, and she gets to the outside, trying to get out of bounds, not getting there. But Dixon will gain 7 yards.
A design quarterback draw. When I coached her in Miami, this was her signature play. A real quick 1 step back, the safeties take off. This is her first game back. Usually she'll score on a play like that, but watch out. This Omaha team is completely different than they were their first 3 games this season.
Now a critical 4th and goal. That's Jenna Holt in motion. Handoff goes to Heather Hudson. And the shifty wide receiver cannot get open. And that'll be a stop for this Chicago defense.
I can't hear anything. He's not giving us any fucking direction. Let's just call it ourselves. I can't wait for this.
Wow, Allie Albert's not happy with the calls.
Holding, number 1 in the offense. That penalty is declined. First down, Chicago, short of the...
And the ball will go over to Chicago.
If they decline it, we get a playback. Hey, if they decline it, we get a playback. Come back to the line, get the ball out of bounds.
A little bit of confusion for Omaha. Omaha thinking if they could decline it, they would get the ball back. That was obviously after the play, so that's not the case. And miscommunication on both sides. You could see some confusion there with Coach Keith Hack. With 45.9 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. And Chicago with no timeouts. Fakes the handoff, another throw in the flat, and overshot her receiver, Civilian.
Civilian should have came down with that catch. It wasn't a great pass by Furr, but it was definitely catchable. The
First number, keep looking. I was 68, the reverse tsunami. Go.
One of Chicago's favorite plays, we're going to see it right here, reverse to Nneka Nwani. Now this girl is a beast. When she gets the football, I would not want to tackle her. This would be a fun play.
The only concern I would have is you only have 40 seconds. And unless she breaks off a big run here, they're going to be challenged to score before the half. And there is Nwani getting to the outside. Not sure if she got out of bounds. Apparently she did. That'll stop the clock with 35 seconds remaining. A good 11-yard gain.
Look at the size of Nneka Nwani. How'd you like to be a cornerback trying to bring her down? Coach Hack told me instead of a number, they were going to put a license plate on her jersey.
A 1st and 10 now, ball out to the Chicago 13-yard line. This Omaha defense has got to dig in here before the half and keep this game within reach. And that's a shovel pass to Christelle Harris out in the open field. And she is very dangerous. A great open field tackle, it looked like, by Ananka Dixon. But not before Harris picked up 21 yards.
Chicago's signature play, the shuffle pass to the Ferrari Harris. When you have Nneka Nwani and Christelle the Ferrari Harris, no wonder Keith Hack does not like to throw the football.
That was actually Heather Hudson on the open field tackle. A great addition at the corner position in addition to what she does offensively. Now Fur from the shotgun, 28 seconds. That is a little dump off in the flat. Christelle Harris breaking through arm tackles and getting past Ananka Dixon. And that'll be a score for Chicago.
A great run, a great play by Heather Fur. But you know why these guys are the champs? Watch Allie Alberts. She is completely out of the play. She makes a block on the goal line against the safety to put her in the end zone. Watch, that's a great run, great miss right there. Look at Allie Alberts. Has her defender off the ball, walks in the end zone.
Well, I'm not sure that was a textbook block. That looked like a tripping play.
It got the job done.
To your point, she crossed the goal line, and that's all that matters. And now the extra point attempt again to Civilian. Fur and Civilian just not able to connect tonight. And that'll keep our score to 20-0 with a little over 15 seconds remaining.
Heather Fur is not a textbook quarterback, but she got the football there. Civilian should have caught that ball and gone in the end zone.
We need a yard and you're gonna run trips right, deep bubble? Fucking stupid. Are you fucking kidding me? Is she not, I'm not, what? Is she not catching the fucking ball? I don't want the, I am done throwing her. It's going deep, everyone, it's going fucking deep.
And you could see the frustration from Heather Fur. One, not happy with the play call from the offensive coordinator, Keith Hack. And definitely not happy with the rookie wide receiver, Civilian, who's had a tough time here in the first half.
Allie Alberts catches every ball that comes her way. A great catch radius. She's upset she didn't get the football.
Now a 1st and 10 from the 15. Handoff, Sarah Thompson. And Thompson gaining 8 yards on the carry, and Omaha electing to use their final timeout of the half.
Timeout.
This Omaha offensive line is so different with Robinson at center. She's like the quarterback of the offensive line. They're blowing out holes against the defending champions and their #1 defensive line.
I think you absolutely hit it on the head. It was that center to quarterback exchange that has been their Achilles heel through the first 3 weeks of the season. With Robinson back, at least they're getting an opportunity to get the playoff.
With Robinson and Ananka Dixon in this offense, even though Dixon's not having a great first half, her veteran leadership is showing. This is a totally different offense.
Time for one more play here. We got about 9 seconds with absolutely no timeouts for Omaha. And Dixon will surely look to the end zone and does just that. Left side, intercepted by Allie Alberts. And Alberts still on her feet. That is her second interception of the half. Having an incredible game there in the secondary.
Good pressure by Chicago. Ananka Dixon trying to make something happen. Just threw up a Hail Mary, not a great pass at all. Another interception by Alberts. Wow, what a half she had.
The all-fantasy free safety leading Chicago to a 20-0 lead here at halftime. While Omaha's had their opportunities, the back-to-back champions are in firm control going into halftime.
So 3 gifts from me. I gotta get that shit back. I gotta take it back.
An encouraging but frustrated Ananka Dixon inside the Omaha Heart locker room as we bring you back to halftime festivities. Mitch Mortaza, Bobby Hugo. And Bobby, here's the Omaha Heart. They're only down 20-0. It's within reach.
Absolutely. The new additions didn't have much of an impact in the first half, but they certainly revitalized this Omaha team. They look good, actually. Can't say that for the quarterback, Ananka Dixon. Not her type of first half. To her credit, you know what? She just came in, learned a new offense in 1 week, but still not her type first half. She needs a lot more urgency and effort.
Absolutely. I thought the effort wasn't there for Ananka Dixon through one half of football. On the other side of the ball, we talked about it in the pregame show, and we'd hope for it if all Bliss fans want a balanced offense. They got to look at that in the first half of this one. Heather Furr, an unbelievable 14 pass attempts in the first half of this football game.
That's right. First start out hot. She hit a strike right down the field to Allie Alberts, but she's still a Tim Tebow type quarterback. The players love her. Great game manager. She wins football games, but you know what? She's not a pure quarterback.
She'll argue that point. I'm sure she did throw a touchdown pass in the first half of that one, but Christelle Harris opened the scoring on this 16-yard touchdown run. Check that, a 6-yard touchdown run, giving Chicago a 7-0 lead. Then it was a turnover here by the Omaha Heart, and Ananka Dixon, we talked about it, a lack of effort trying to kick the ball out of the back of the end zone, misses the ball. Yashi Rice recovers, giving Chicago a 14-0 lead. Then it was Furr with 17 seconds remaining, finding Christelle Harris on this 16-yard touchdown pass. That gave Chicago the halftime 20-0 lead as we now look at the first half stats.
Omaha did have a season-high 52 yards on offense, primarily by the running of Sarah Thompson, but the big play offense of Chicago was the story behind Heather Furr and Allie Alberts. For Omaha to have any chance here in the second half, they have to keep the ball on the ground, control the clock, and play with a little urgency.
And that will officially bring us to the end of the halftime festivities here at the Ralston Arena as the teams take back to the field. Kickoff is next. We are back to LFL football night as we now take a look at our starters at quarterback.
A great half by Heather Furr with a 93.45 rating and Ananka Dixon with a 0 rating. But Mitch, stats are like bikinis. What's revealed is interesting, but they don't show everything.
But I will tell you, 14 pass attempts. We talked about it at halftime. That is a new record for this offense under Keith Hack being the offensive coordinator. Dominique Collins will get us underway here in the second half. A nice high kick to Heather Hudson returning, still on her feet. Getting out almost to midfield. That is something that they did not have. And they're getting with the free agent pickup, Heather Hudson.
This team became exciting with all these acquisitions. Heather Hudson almost breaks it. She breaks one tackle there. She gets by these two, she's gone. She's got that breakaway speed. I love watching this Omaha team now. I never thought I would say that a couple weeks ago.
Heather Hudson on a 19-yard opening kickoff return. Now sets up her offense at midfield. This is the best field position that this offense has had all night. We'll see if Dixon can do something with it. That is a handoff to Thompson. The veteran back moving the sticks. An impressive 11-yard run by number 7.
Again, a great kick-out block by Sarah Robinson at center. A huge hole right there, and watch her get by Heather Furr right there. Heather Furr's a short tackler. This is a different team right now.
Ball now at the Chicago 15-yard line. This is the most impressive drive we've seen, including the kick return. And Dixon maybe finally getting comfortable in this offense. A 1st and 10 now at the 15. That was gonna be a handoff. I'm not sure if that was a busted play. And Dixon will gain 2 yards.
No, that was that quarterback draw again. She should have checked out of it because Chicago brought everybody up to the line of scrimmage. That play didn't have a chance.
Blazer, 1, diamond. We gotta switch out if it's trips, but otherwise.
Another interesting change there, dynamic defensively for Chicago. Normally, it's been Heather Furr as the play caller. It looks like that's shifted over to Allie Alberts. Now a 2nd and 8 Whereas we near the 8-minute mark here of the third quarter. That is another design run play by Ananka Dixon, still on her feet. Dixon gaining 7 yards before Nneka Nwani and Allie Alberts converge.
Allie Alberts frustrated right now. That was a design play, but an ugly design play. That was all Ananka Dixon. She has that secondary confused right now.
That 7-yard run now sets up a 3rd and 1. And perhaps this Chicago defense showing a weakness against a mobile quarterback. Obviously, they've yet to see one. You can't classify Dakota Hughes of Atlanta as being mobile, and they certainly have not had one here in Omaha previously.
No, Dakota Hughes, she's Tom Brady mobile.
3rd and 1, I'm sure Tom and Dakota are happy to hear that. And we've got another penalty.
Offense, number 20, 5 yards, 3rd down.
That is a delay of game penalty on Omaha. That could be a crucial play, setting them back now to the 11-yard line. And those are penalties you could ill afford when you're up against the champion Bliss. Now a 3rd and 6 play. That was an unorthodox handoff to Sarah Thompson. Thompson will lose 2 yards. Yashi Rice on the tackle.
That's a great point on the previous play. Ananka Dixon, she's a veteran quarterback. You can't have a delay of game penalty inside the 10-yard line. Then they come back here, the defense is all over them. Instead of attacking the Chicago defense, now they're going backwards.
Now a 4th and 8 after having the ball inside the 6-yard line. This Omaha offense starting to implode a little bit on this drive. Clock nearing the 6-minute mark. That is another design option play and another flag as Dixon takes a pretty good hit from Kim Perez.
Holding, number 7 offense. The penalties decline. 1st down, Chicago.
And that'll be a turnover on downs.
Injury timeout.
As Chicago takes over and we take an injury timeout, Omaha blows another golden opportunity. Back to 3rd quarter action of LFL football night in a game where the back-to-back champions are up 20-0. And now they'll take over on offense.
Chicago's offense, I know they're trying to get the passing game going, but they really don't look that sharp. I mean, I know we're so used to seeing Ferrari Harris run the ball every play. They're trying to get Allie Alberts in the game, but they really haven't looked sharp tonight.
They are committed absolutely to developing this passing game. Now an inside handoff. That looks to be Stephanie Murray, another rookie. And Murray looking impressive on an 11-yard carry.
Murray really has a big upside. Coach Hack really likes her. Watch her run right through an all-fantasy defensive end. Leak play pay went right through her. Can't wait to see this girl work into the Chicago offense.
That 11-yard carry sets up now a 1st and 10. Ball at the Chicago 18-yard line, and the champs are now firmly in control after a little scare by Omaha. And that is head coach Dante Allen. And it has been an absolute long season for that young man.
They need to get on the scoreboard somehow.
That is another screen play to Civilian. Civilian getting to the outside. And she'll gain 4 yards. But getting to your point earlier, this Omaha offense has yet to score. And now we've got a little fisticuffs after the play. Possibly a little frustration setting in for Omaha. And we've got a penalty on the field as well.
I hate to say it, but that's good. The old Omaha team would not be getting in fights with Chicago. Look at this. They're down 20, but they're ready to fight.
Number 5 of the offense during the run. 5 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
That holding call on Dina Fagiano. A couple excellent points here, Bobby. One, absolutely, the fight for Omaha. We have yet to see that part of this roster all season. Secondly, from an offensive perspective, this is now their 14th quarter of football without a single point.
No points. That is unbelievable. I mean, they even lost during their bye week a couple weeks ago. That's how bad the offense was. But they'll score some points. They look like a different team tonight.
Now a little over 5 minutes remaining again in the flat. That to Allie Alberts. And Stephanie Baer with the late tackle. Baer from Elkhorn, Nebraska. But once again, it's that tenacity that we've yet to see from anybody from Omaha that we're seeing tonight.
She took down Allie Alberts by the head. This has to be a penalty.
Personal foul, face mask, number 15. It's 10 yards from the end of the run, first down.
And you called it, Bobby. That is a face mask. That'll push the ball down another 10 yards. Let's take another look at it. There's the completion in the flat to Allie Alberts. Then Stephanie Baer with a blow to the head. And then just slamming Allie Alberts down to the ground by the face mask.
No points, but this team has fired tonight.
Now a 1st and 10. Y handoff. Dina Fagiano. And Fagiano gaining 12 yards on the carry.
It's tough to stop Fagiano behind the line of scrimmage. She gets the ball, she heads north-south, she's tough to bring down, and she's got great speed.
She's one of those players that got in the weight room in the offseason, and she's put on a good 10, 12 pounds of pure muscle. Easily the most physical and biggest front line in all of the LFL are the Chicago Bliss.
It's a tune-up game for the Bliss. We've been talking a lot about Omaha, but this Chicago defense is still pitching a shutout, and the offense is still scoring points. Not pretty again, but they're scoring points.
1st and goal, ball at the 4-yard line. That is a design option play to Christelle Harris. And Harris gaining 2 yards. Stephanie Baer on the tackle.
You trying to tackle me? She trying to tackle me. She trying to tackle me. Thank you. Come on, man.
Christelle Harris, she doesn't want anybody to touch her. She's having an off night tonight. She's not carrying the ball. She's going to get some rest for their next week's game. She only carried the ball a few times so far.
And that is probably a good thing if you're a Chicago fan. You're going to need all the gas in the tank for the Ferrari in the playoffs. Now a 2nd and goal play, another screen play to Civilian. And that play has not worked all night. I'm not sure why they keep going back to it.
Coach Hack is frustrated. The play is actually there. One time Civilian drops the ball. This time Heather Furr throws a shot put out there. It only got halfway there. It's like they're just not executing.
Now a 3rd and goal for this Chicago offense. Ball at the 2-yard line. The Omaha crowd starting to come to life here. That's another screenplay, Civilian. This time the two connect. And Civilian in for the score.
Wow, finally. That was like the immaculate reception. These two finally connected. What a play. Civilian, you got to hand it to her. She finally caught it, concentrated. Furr got it out there. And look, if you execute, you score points.
Obviously, that worked at practice. It just took some time for them to connect here in the game. And Chicago now up 26-0. But it doesn't feel like a 26-0 game. I think Omaha's been more competitive than that.
You know, Chicago wins ugly, and they're doing it again tonight.
That is a little pass in the flat to Stephanie Murray. And Murray, a big target at 5'11" from Plainfield, Illinois.
You got to hand it to Keith Hack. I don't know where he finds these players. We haven't talked about Murray all year, and here she is. She's having a great game. 5'11" with those kind of hands. Can you imagine they work her in the lineup? 5'11". You got Allie Alberts at 5'10". What a combination at receiver.
That is one of the absolute great things this franchise does every offseason, led by head coach Keith Hack, and that is recruiting. They're always looking for the absolute best talent, and this team has a national reality series premiering this fall. I'm sure that will not hurt the lineup in 2016.
Wow. With these A personalities, this is going to be a crazy reality series.
That is something you're going to want to tune into. We'll have details later this season.
Prior to the play clock expiring, timeout, Omaha. First charge timeout of the half.
And we've got a timeout on the field from Omaha. Once again, Dixon not liking what she sees.
Hey, fuck offense, get over here. Listen, when they run that double twins on that side and we're running a blazer, I want you to corner over, but I want you to run a 3. You're gonna go deep third, you're going to middle, you're going back third, all right? All right? Get that fucking quarterback already. You're going.
Keith Hack, he's trying to control Anaka Dixon. She's dangerous. They're up 27-0, but he's not happy. They're getting big chunks of yardage. So when they go in a twin set, he's going to roll the coverage and go back into a 3 deep so she can't go deep.
Now, how much of that is also a little bit of tension about being the first team to give up a score to Omaha?
A lot. You don't want to be that first team, especially if you're the champs.
And look at this, all kinds of disarray. Resembling the old Omaha team, that'll be a loss of 3 yards. Heather Furr getting in the backfield.
They bring Hudson underneath. Instead of just taking the sack right there, Dixon tried to make something happen. Luckily, Hudson got the football for Omaha.
Now a 2nd and 10 play. Anaka Dixon still trying to muster up some offense here. One of the strongest arms you will see. Can absolutely throw the length of the field. Now from the shotgun, high snap, trying to find an opening, and the pocket absolutely collapsing around her. That was Heather Furr and Chantel Taylor.
They came with a safety blitz right there with the bookends at defensive end, Chantel Taylor and Yashi Rice. They did collapse the pocket. Nobody blocked Furr. Anaka Dixon had nowhere to go.
Come on, Omaha, there you go. There you go.
That's Heather Furr having fun with this Omaha crowd. And these poor Hart fans have been through absolute misery this season, having given up now a staggering 117 points and not a single point scored. And here we go again. Chicago now just pinning back their ears and getting after the quarterback.
Again, nobody blocked Heather Furr. She came through untouched, got right into Anaka Dixon's face. Untouched, delayed blitz. Nobody's blocking up front now for Dixon. And she looks like she's getting a little bit tired. This is her first game in 4 years. We're almost into the 4th quarter, and Chicago's got their swag going right now. This is the champs telling Omaha, not tonight.
That is an excellent point, Bobby. Here's a young lady who hasn't played in over 4 years. The LFL game has changed quite a bit in that period of time. And she just does not have the elusive ability she did prior, and you could see it there again. Back in 2010, Anaka Dixon gets to the outside and probably scores on that play. But now you have stallions like Nneka Nwani, and absolute no chance.
Anaka Dixon just needs to get her game leg. She'll get into shape quick.
That will officially bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. A quarter that saw Omaha with glimpses of hope, then dashed away. Back for the final 10 minutes of football here in Omaha, Nebraska. Mitch Mortaza and Bobby Huco in a 27-0 ball game with the back-to-back champs in firm control.
This is classic Chicago Bliss, Keith Hack football. They don't look pretty, and they're up 27-0.
But it's against Omaha.
Good point.
Now, we'll see what happens when they line up against Atlanta, Seattle, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. But they're looking good here. A little throw out in the flat to Allie Alberts. Alberts having a big night. That is Alberts' 3rd reception on the evening.
She is having a phenomenal night. We were talking about how ugly Chicago's playing, but winning. Allie Alberts is playing one of the best games I've seen her play, and they're finally throwing her the football.
An absolute playmaker. But they did get her for stepping out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Now a 2nd and 2. That is a quick slant play to Allie Alberts. And Alberts scoring for Chicago.
Heather Furr saw the man-to-man coverage on the 5'10" Allie Alberts. She took one step, just lobbed it high. Great pass by Furr. Alberts just went up and got it.
Heather Furr connecting on the touchdown, but again, an ugly pass, and that is something they're gonna have to work on. I realize they're trying to develop this passing game, but look at this duck.
It's actually effective. I mean, you just get it high and let her go get it.
Now, if you tell me that was a design duck, I'm going to have to debate that call.
I'm going to talk to Heather Furr after the game. She just threw it high like an alley-oop and let her go get it to Allie. Alley-oop to Allie.
That is a one-point conversion, the same old bull rush play, but very effective as Chicago scores. That'll extend their lead to 34-0.
We talked about it at halftime, how Heather Furr is like Tim Tebow. She can bull in from 3 yards out just like Tebow. She gets the job done. She scores points. She wins football game. But technique-wise, she's just not good.
And that's what I think you have to worry about getting into the postseason, specifically the Legends Cup or even against Atlanta. Can you really win without having an effective passing game? That is going to be the million-dollar question for Chicago.
It is the million-dollar question. The good thing is you have a receiver like Allie Alberts. You throw it anywhere near her, she's going to go get it.
And we've got a stoppage here. It looks like we've got another timeout by Omaha.
Timeout, Omaha. Second final timeout.
And I want to check with our truck here, but that is the third timeout that this Omaha offense is called coming in from stoppage. Definitely a tough return to the LFL for Ananka Dixon.
Everybody's all like flustered.
They're all flustered.
But we need the quick stuff.
You're flustered too. So
I know, but we need that quick stuff. That stuff that take a long time to develop.
Dixon is such a competitor. She is totally frustrated tonight. She's used to winning football games. They haven't even scored tonight. She's having problems seeing where the time clock is. She'll get it, but it's just a frustrating night for her first night back.
Again, I think a far more respectable showing despite the score. Certainly a lot of positives that Omaha can take away from this game. And that type of connection will just come through time. Again, this is only the first meeting
I did exactly what you told me to do.
that Dixon has had with these receivers, so timing is going to be off. And you could see she's also off with her offensive coordinator, Dante Allen.
She'll get it together. She'll help this offense out. But you're right, that trip set right there, a quick post, which she usually hits 99% of the time. She couldn't hit Heather Hudson because she's just not used to throwing the football to her.
Now a 2nd and 10 after that incomplete pass attempt to Heather Hudson. Dixon under center, gonna hand it inside. That's Sarah Thompson. And Thompson looking very impressive tonight. If nothing else, they have found their running back here in Omaha.
They found their running back, but they found their center too. Another outstanding block up front. Watch the drive block by Sarah Robinson, the new center. Those two are having outstanding football games.
That 9-yard run by Thompson now will set up a 3rd and 1. And you got to be a little concerned if you're Chicago that this offense is moving the ball the way they are.
If this offense, which has not scored a touchdown all year, is moving like this, what's Atlanta going to do?
And that looks like the first line of defense for Chicago. I don't see any second-team players. And that is definitely not a second-team player. That is your all-fantasy strong safety, Allie Alberts, sacking Dixon for a 2-yard loss.
Great play by Alberts, but again, there's no way, even with the speed that Ananka Dixon has, that you can get outside of Chantel Taylor. She sealed the outside, and then Alberts came up from the safety position. Great defensive play by the entire Chicago defense.
This Omaha offense, just when they take a step forward, they take 2 back. They had a 3rd and 1, now a 4th and 3 at the Omaha 22-yard line. Dixon back under center, now sending Pay in motion. That is a lackluster handoff. Not sure if that was intended for Sarah Thompson or Heather Hudson. That ball is loose, and it looks like Chicago's Yashi Rice might have recovered.
The ball was intended for Hudson on a reverse. Sarah Jane Thompson did not get out of the way. She should have exploded through the line of scrimmage. The ball was going to Hudson, hit Thompson, went on the ground, but Anaka Dixon showed no effort getting that ball. Watch right here. Thompson should have cleared out, but she didn't. It hits her hand. Hudson tried to get it. Anaka Dixon not going after the ball. No effort there, and Chicago comes up with it.
And I think that's got to be one of the big knocks on Dixon tonight. Completely understand about her lack of understanding of the playbook, not being on the same page with the receivers in terms of timing, but not to put any effort toward recovering a ball. That's got to be alarming.
Well, that's twice. In the first half, Chicago scored a touchdown on it. I don't know if she thought it was an incomplete pass, but either time you still have to fall on the football.
Now Chicago taking over again. Great field position. Ball at the Omaha 11-yard line. There's a reverse to Civilian, and Lekle Pay finally making an impact in this game. That is another one of those free agent pickups we talked about in the pregame show.
Again, she needs to just get her game legs. That was an outstanding play. She looks like she's in great shape. I'm really excited about this Omaha team and how they're going to finish out this season.
Now a 2nd and 11 after that 1-yard loss by Civilian. The clock continuing to run. We are nearing the 5-minute mark. Ball at the 12-yard line. That's a pitch out play to Javille Thompson, breaking tackles and getting down to about the 2-yard line. That'll actually get it down to about the 3-yard line. Thompson, another one of those impressive rookies.
Wow, for a second I thought this was the Ferrari Harris, the way she's running through people. That's a signature play Chicago likes, just a basic Green Bay Packer type sweep. Thompson looked great on that run.
A pair of great-looking rookies in Civilian and Thompson that Chicago's developing for the next set of years. Now a 3rd and 2 again, pitch out play. Thompson, big hit. And I'm not sure who that was. Perhaps Jenna Holt came up from the corner position to lay the lick on Thompson.
That's the way to attack from that corner position. Wow, we never saw this in the Omaha defense all year long until tonight.
And it appears we've got a penalty on the field. Early indication it's on Chicago.
Illegal procedure on the offense. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And it appears perhaps one of the wideouts had jumped.
Bullshit! I know what you're saying, but he didn't. You know, I'm gonna keep throwing. I'm gonna keep throwing. I'll keep fucking throwing. Because we're fucking throw the fucking ball.
Coach Keith Hack looks like he's debating with his quarterback Heather Furr.
Let's just humiliate Omaha.
It looks like maybe the offense wants to continue to throw the ball, but Coach Hack wanting to run the clock out. It looks like the offense and Heather Furr has one out. And now they're looking down the field again under heavy pressure. Pay coming from the backside and getting to Heather Furr.
Pay showing the all-fantasy player she is at defensive end. Furr initially gets through the rush right here. Looks like she's going to escape. But the speed by Pay coming from behind. This is definitely a different Omaha defense.
And Shaylin Durham also putting on the pressure. Pay doing exactly what they brought her in for, to put pressure on the quarterback. She was one of the better ones when she played 2011 with the Minnesota Valkyrie. And we'll see how she pans out for this Omaha team in the stretch run. Now a 4th and 12. A high snap back to Furr. Looking in the flat, finding Dina Fagiano. And Fagiano cannot hold on.
This shows you what kind of athlete Heather Furr is. She gets the snap, somehow finds Fagiano wide open. Now if she catches that ball, she turns around, there's nobody in front of her. She would have walked in the end zone.
And that'll be a turnover on downs. The only reason the fans are still sticking around, they want to see the first points of the season for this Omaha offense. Under pressure again from the DNs. Although that looks like Nneka Nwani. And Nwani coming up a little slow.
Right now you can see Anaka Dixon is really getting tired. She doesn't have that same fire she had in the first quarter. And I guess I would feel the same way against this strong Chicago rush.
That looked like Nneka Nwani and Nanka Dixon absolutely collided. Both needing a little help to get off the field here.
Dante Allen does not want to see this. His future franchise quarterback laying flat on her back.
The future 37-year-old franchise quarterback. Are you nuts, Bobby Huco? This is a Band-Aid on the season, but you're right. They need her in the lineup. We've seen their quarterback play this season.
She provides the leadership of a veteran. This is a different Omaha offense with her at quarterback.
And now a 2nd and 16. We will find out in a second who's going to be the Omaha quarterback. It looks like Kayleen Colson. Our producers in the truck are telling us that Colson is the scheduled backup for Omaha tonight. And she should get some action here.
Coach Dante Allen likes her. He said she has a really good gun. One of the top arms coming out of Omaha. Let's see it.
And we're going to get a look at her. Not really. She's going to hand off to Sarah Thompson. And Thompson gaining a yard on the carry.
Sarah Thompson's been solid all night long. She brings a solid running game to this Omaha offense.
With about 3 minutes remaining, and Chicago leading this one 34-0 with a win tonight, the Chicago Bliss will clinch a playoff berth in the Eastern Conference.
All they do is win. But watch out for this Omaha team. They're going to surprise somebody. There'll be spoilers somewhere during the season.
Now a 3rd and 15 play. Getting to the outside is Heather Hudson, and that'll be a gain of 6 yards.
For only 1 week of practice, Heather Hudson having a great game.
The people are getting outside on us. How is it possible?
Defensive coordinator Coach Keith Hack not happy with what his defense is doing against this offense as we approach the 2-minute mark.
2-minute warning. 2-minute warning.
And that will do it here in the 4th quarter with 2 minutes remaining. And Chicago leading 34-0 en route to the playoffs.
Like your favorite LFL players and teams and receive breaking news stories. The LFL's official Facebook page, facebook.com/mylfl.
We are back to Omaha, Nebraska, and next week we head out west to California. It is the Vegas Sin hosting the Seattle Mist. In case you're wondering, that is Cynthia Schmidt on the right and Bren Renda of Seattle on the left.
I would not be shocked if Las Vegas beats Seattle next week.
Not at all. They looked impressive at the LA Coliseum. Certainly Cindy Cummings, the quarterback, a young gun. Cynthia Schmidt, perhaps one of the most developing receivers in our game. The big loss was Charlotte Abrahamson, the outstanding tight end that went down with an ACL, MCL tear. As we look at a replay here, that's Kim Perez getting in the backfield. We haven't talked much about her.
Kim Perez, one of the best defensive backs in the LFL. You're right, we did not talk about her a lot tonight, but I love the way she plays football.
A 1st and 10 play. That was a 4th and 9 for Omaha. Not able to convert. Now Chicago going back to work. Ball at the Omaha 12-yard line. That is Civilian in motion. They're going to look to the right side flat and completing to Allie Alberts. Alberts gaining 6 yards.
On this play, Heather Furr, great mechanics. Get rid of the ball quick, get it out in the flat. Alberts wide open, solid football play.
And I think that's what's worrisome to most Bliss fans. There's just no consistency. You'll see a tight rope ball in the flat like the previous one. Then you'll see a knuckleball there as far as a screenplay. There's just no consistency from Heather Furr.
All she needs is repetition. Repetition, 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 and you get better as a passer.
And we talked about it in the pregame show. They're going to have 2 games, obviously the remainder of tonight, and then they return on August 8th back to Omaha, and they'll wrap the season on the south side of Chicago at home versus the Atlanta Steam. So plenty of opportunity to develop this passing game. And there's a quick release play. Stephanie Murray making a big impact tonight is the Plainfield, Illinois tight end.
I love the design of this play. Everybody thinks you're going right. A great fake by Fur, wide open. Here we go again, her second touchdown of the night. Remember this name, Stephanie Murray. 5'11", big target, great hands.
Now the extra point attempt, Chicago going for one. That's a handoff to Javille Thompson. Great penetration by Likle Pay. And again, Pay paying dividends for this Omaha team.
Here we go again, they're down 40-0. They keep making great plays like this. Likle Pay throwing her down. Wow.
As we said, Pay is one of those dominant DNs.
No, it's my fault. I should have called that. I should have called that.
Coach Keith Hack having a little fun now with his roster. Now they get to play 2 basic preseason games, having clinched a playoff berth. And that's where you want to be at this point in the season. To have your destiny ahead of you already figured out. Perhaps rest some people, develop some of these rookies. And as we say time and time again, get a passing game together. Another poor handle and worse attempt by Ananka Dixon to try to get on the muffed snap. That's Heather Furr on the recovery.
Ananka Dixon, I think she's just tired right now. That's just like lack of preparation right there. Just basic snap. She's taken millions of them, and she just didn't stay in there and fumble the football. Chicago got it.
And that looked like a new center, Chantrell Tillman. I'm not sure why Sarah Robinson was not in on that play.
It's going to be interesting right now. A minute left, 40-0. We'll see if they continue to work on Heather Furr's passing game.
Ball at the Omaha 15-yard line. Now they're just going to take a knee here, to the chagrin of this crowd. They want to see a little more football out here. The clock will continue to run. The absolute right move here. You're up 40-0. Why risk an injury?
I told him.
And the greatest thing that's going to dawn on this ball club at the end of this game is they've clinched a berth in the Eastern Conference playoff.
Dante Allen not happy. They did not score a touchdown again for the 4th game this season. But I think it's the first time I've ever said this. They look good losing 40-0.
Yeah, I don't think in all my years of watching football would I feel good about losing 40-0. But I think from what we've seen earlier in the year, this is a definite improvement. Although you wouldn't know it looking at Dante Allen, I think there are a lot of bright spots here. Likle Pay, the play of Heather Hudson. Ananka Dixon will turn around. You've got Sarah Robinson back, and I really like Sarah Thompson, the running back. So I think they can finish the season pretty strong.
I think they can. As for Chicago, this might be America's team. 2-time defending champions. They look poised to do it again this year.
And Chicago moves to 4-0 on the season as Omaha drops to 0-4. Now the back-to-back champions advancing to the Eastern Conference playoffs. For Bobby Huco, our producer Connor Schofield, this is Mitch Mortaza, and we will see you next week on LFL Football Night.